What if I told you Harry didn't just survive Voldemort? He was linked to him in ways no one saw coming. This wasn't just a battle of good versus evil. We're talking blood, soul fragments, ancient magic, and a wand that refused to obey. Their connection rewrote the rules of the wizarding world, and today you're going to understand everything. Ready? Because the truth is wilder than the prophecy. They say magic has rules, but let's be honest, those rules are more like guidelines, with a flair for the dramatic. In the wizarding world, even the most well-studied spell can throw you a curveball if the emotional stakes are high enough. Case in point, baby Harry surviving the killing curse. That wasn't supposed to happen, but magic, unlike math, has a soft spot for love and chaos. You see, Voldemort didn't just cast Avada Kedavra and miss. He cast it, it hit, and yet it backfired. Why? Because in that exact moment, something ancient kicked in. It wasn't a shield, a spell, or a clever counter curse. It was the magic of self-sacrifice. And trust me, Voldemort had no idea how to account for that in his battle plans. Dumbledore explains it in the Philosopher's Stone. To have been loved so deeply, even though the person who loved us is gone, will give us some protection forever. That's not metaphorical. That's literal, wand-scorching, soul-twisting protection. Lily's death wasn't just tragic. It rewrote the rules. Voldemort brought a wand to a love fight. Rookie mistake. And that's the funny thing about magic. It listens. Not just to incantations and wand movements, but to choices, intentions, and sacrifice. It reacts to meaning, not just mechanics. So when people say magic is logical, they clearly never watched it crumble under the weight of a mother's love. In Harry's case, that love formed a protective tether stronger than any spell. But Voldemort didn't know he'd just triggered a domino effect. See, he wasn't exactly in the habit of studying love-based defenses. He was too busy splitting his soul into Horcruxes like some kind of dark arts coupon collector. And that soul, fragmented, wounded, unstable, is the next piece of this tangled puzzle. The man wasn't satisfied with just avoiding death. He wanted to bully mortality into submission. So he split his soul. Not once, not twice, but 7 times, including the accidental one, of course. And with each Horcrux, he didn't just make himself harder to kill, he chipped away at what made him human. Now let's be clear, making one Horcrux already requires murder and a soul-ripping spell. Doing it repeatedly? That's like tearing a page from your diary until there's barely a cover left. By the time he created his 6th intentional Horcrux, Voldemort's soul was so unstable it couldn't hold itself together. Even his body started to reflect the damage. Pale skin, snake-like features, and eyes that screamed, "I forgot how empathy works." Dumbledore puts it bluntly in The Half-Blood Prince. He has no soul to destroy left in him. That's not poetic. It's diagnostic. Voldemort had hollowed himself out in the name of power, but that emptiness came at a price. He could perform terrible magic, sure, but he'd also lost the very things that could have protected him from his own downfall, like compassion, loyalty, or, I don't know, basic self-awareness. See, magic responds to soul integrity. When your soul is full, magic flows through it, like music through a violin. But when it's fractured, the sound gets warped. Voldemort's spells were powerful, yes, but unstable. His body couldn't regenerate properly after his first death, and even his resurrection in Goblet of Fire was more patch job than rebirth. But it gets better, or worse, depending on your point of view. Because while he was busy breaking his soul into collectible pieces, he missed something crucial, something ancient, something sentimental. And that something, ironically, was the one force he always underestimated: love. Which leads us to the woman who changed everything, Lily Potter. Lily Potter didn't have a wand in her hand when she faced Voldemort, but she didn't need one. Her weapon was something much older, much deeper, and honestly, way more effective. In the long run, unconditional love. When she chose to die for Harry, she triggered a protective magic so ancient that even Dumbledore treated it with reverence. Voldemort, of course, had zero clue. He treated love like a myth, something for weaker minds. Here's the kicker. The protection only worked because Lily chose to die. Voldemort gave her a chance to step aside, and she refused. That act of pure, voluntary sacrifice invoked a kind of magic he couldn't recognize, let alone fight. It was rooted not in spellbooks, but in the fabric of magical law itself. And just like that, his killing curse hit a wall it couldn't break. In the Philosopher's Stone, Dumbledore explains, Your mother died to save you. If there's one thing Voldemort cannot understand, it is love. That line hits harder when you realize it's not just about emotion, it's about magical consequence. Voldemort cast the most feared curse in existence, and it blew up in his face because he didn't understand what Lily had done. That's not just irony, that's poetic justice with a wand. Lily didn't set out to become a martyr. She didn't know her choice would echo through Harry's blood, shielding him for years. But that's the nature of this ancient protection. It lingers. It clings. It transforms an ordinary baby into someone Voldemort couldn't touch. And for a Dark Lord obsessed with control, that kind of magic is terrifying because he can't manipulate it. And while Voldemort was busy licking his wounds, or what was left of them, something else was happening behind the scenes. A man who had once called Lily a mudblood was now begging for her life. His actions, driven by guilt, grief, and yes, love, would help seal the very magic that Voldemort failed to understand. Enter Severus Snape. If irony had a mascot in the wizarding world, it would be Severus Snape. The man who once spat the word mudblood at Lily Evans ended up risking everything to protect her son. Life comes at you fast. What began as a desperate plea to save Lily turned into a lifelong double life. And not the glamorous spy thriller kind, more like the tragic, sleep-deprived, morally gray kind. When Snape realized Voldemort was targeting the Potters, he panicked. He ran straight to Dumbledore, not out of duty but out of love, and not the Disney princess kind of love either. His was a tortured, guilt-ridden, forever haunted sort. Still, that love was powerful enough to change the course of the war, because Snape didn't just switch sides. He stayed switched, even when it meant becoming the most hated professor at Hogwarts. Dumbledore knew what kind of magic was in play when Lily died, but Snape's appeal gave her a chance to choose. That moment, when Voldemort offered Lily the chance to step aside, wasn't random. It was Snape's doing, and it mattered, because that choice, and Lily's refusal, activated the protection that saved Harry. You won't find that kind of plot twist in your average Defense Against the Dark Arts textbook. In the Deathly Hallows, we learn just how deep Snape's loyalty went. Always, he said, arguably the most quoted one-word line in the entire series. And while it launched 1,000 Tumblr posts, it also defined his entire arc. Snape wasn't perfect, far from it, but he was essential. Without him, Lily might have died without the chance to make that fateful choice, and Harry's story could have ended in that nursery. But Snape's influence didn't stop there. His choices created ripple effects that would twist fate in unimaginable ways, some of them darker than he intended, especially when Voldemort's soul didn't just shatter from murder, but latched onto something, or someone, unexpected. Let's be honest, becoming a Horcrux was probably not on baby Harry's to-do list, but Voldemort, in his grand miscalculation, managed to break every magical law of self-preservation in one chaotic night. When his killing curse rebounded, it didn't just destroy his body, it ripped his soul wide open, and with nowhere else to go, a piece of that fractured soul clung to the nearest living thing, Harry. Congratulations, kid. You're now carrying magical malware. Here's the creepy part. No ritual, no incantation, no intention. Horcruxes normally require premeditated murder and a soul-splitting spell. But this was an accident, a magical glitch in the system. It had never happened before and hasn't happened since. That's how unique Harry's connection to Voldemort truly is. He's not just the boy who lived. He's the boy who got possessed without consent. This twist is what makes the Half-Blood Prince and the Deathly Hallows so emotionally charged. Harry's been carrying a piece of Voldemort inside him for years, unknowingly. It's why he could speak Parseltongue. It's why he had those freaky dreams. And it's why Dumbledore's eyebrows were always a little more furrowed when Harry walked into the room. The connection wasn't metaphorical, it was spiritual, magical, and literal. This accidental Horcrux turned Harry into a ticking time bomb. Voldemort didn't even know what he'd done, which makes it all the more poetic. He thought he'd eliminated the one threat to his power, only to end up embedding himself into that very person. It's like trying to erase a hard drive and accidentally uploading your files to the cloud. Smooth move, Dark Lord. But Harry's unintentional status as a Horcrux didn't just explain a few weird dreams, it also came with some dangerous side effects. The connection between him and Voldemort wasn't one way. It was a two-way channel. And over time, it became clear that their minds weren't just linked, they were bleeding into each other. So, imagine sharing brain space with the most evil wizard alive. Not exactly a dream Airbnb setup, but that's what Harry dealt with for years, thanks to the soul fragment hitching a ride inside him. He didn't just feel Voldemort's emotions, he absorbed them. Rage, triumph, fear. It was like emotional Wi-Fi with terrible parental controls. And the signal? Always strongest when danger was near? One of the earliest signs? Parcel tongue. Talking to snakes wasn't some quirky talent. It was a red flag waving in parcel-colored ink. Harry never learned it. It came naturally. Why? Because the part of Voldemort inside him had that ability, and it was bleeding through. Let's just say Hogwarts didn't exactly have a therapist for accidental possession by dark wizards. In the Order of the Phoenix, we see how dangerous this connection really is. Harry has visions, clear, vivid, real. He sees Mr. Weasley being attacked in real time. Not just a dream. He's there, from Voldemort's point of view. That's when the adults finally realize this isn't just teen angst with bonus nightmares. It's a magical link with deadly potential. The closer Voldemort got to power, the stronger the link became. Harry would feel sudden bursts of rage, unprovoked hatred, even physical pain when Voldemort was nearby. It wasn't just inconvenient, it was a security risk. Dumbledore knew that connection could be used against them, and it was. Remember, when Voldemort lured Harry to the Department of Mysteries? Yeah, that was emotional manipulation at a Horcrux level, and as if that wasn't enough of a headache, literally, things escalated fast once Voldemort got his body back. Because now the Dark Lord had access to Harry's thoughts and his blood, that's when things got messy. Really messy. But we'll get to that in a second. When Voldemort came back in Goblet of Fire, it wasn't exactly subtle. Bone of the father, flesh of the servant, blood of the enemy. It was like the worst smoothie recipe ever. But the ingredient that mattered most? Harry's blood. Voldemort believed that by using it, he could bypass Lily's protection. Finally, he thought, he was invincible. Keyword, thought. What he didn't realize was that Harry's blood didn't just weaken the protection, it transferred it. Yeah, plot twist. Lily's sacrificial magic now lived in Voldemort too, anchoring Harry to life in a way no prophecy could predict. So while Voldemort believed he was outsmarting death, he was actually tying himself to the one person who could defeat him. Again, nice job, Tom. This mistake is the magical equivalent of building an unbreakable vault and giving your enemy the key. Voldemort's obsession with defeating love and outwitting death made him blind to the consequences of ancient magic. And if there's one consistent theme in the wizarding world, it's this. Ancient magic always wins. It's not flashy, but it's powerful. Kind of like Molly Weasley in battle mode. Throughout Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood Prince, Voldemort grows increasingly confident. He has a body, followers, and fear on his side. But beneath all that arrogance is a fatal flaw. He still doesn't understand what saved Harry the first time. He thinks power is about control, domination, fear. And in doing so, he keeps falling into the same trap over and over. Because for all his spells, Horcruxes, and high-stakes monologuing, Voldemort still couldn't see the invisible threads tying him to Harry. Threads woven from blood, sacrifice, and wand cores. Connections that would eventually unravel his fate. One duel at a time. Here's the duel that broke the laws of magic and logic. Harry with his trusty Expelliarmus versus Voldemort and the dreaded Avada Kedavra. One spell disarms you, the other kills you instantly. You'd think it would be a short fight. But when their wands clashed in the graveyard, something extraordinary happened. Priori incantatem. Basically, a magical arm wrestling match between wand twins. See, Harry's wand and Voldemort's wand shared the same core. Phoenix feather, both from Fawkes. And according to Ollivander, the wand chooses the wizard. But what happens when two wands choose opposite sides of a war? They refuse to destroy each other. So instead of a fatal curse, we got a golden beam, ghostly echoes, and the spirits of Voldemort's victims popping in for a quick chat. In Goblet of Fire, we watch as Cedric Diggory's ghost tells Harry to take my body back. It's one of the eeriest, most powerful moments in the series. Not only is Harry fighting for his life, but he's standing face to face with death itself. And somehow, it's Voldemort who looks unprepared. His most lethal spell gets stalled by something he never planned for: shared magical ancestry. This wasn't just a lucky break, it was a massive turning point. Harry learned that power isn't always about stronger spells. Sometimes it's about understanding what you're connected to. His wand, chosen by fate, protected him in ways he didn't even understand at the time. Meanwhile, Voldemort's overconfidence kept setting him up for failure. It's almost like he needed a course in advanced humility. And here's the wild part. This duel, full of magical feedback and unexpected twists, was just a preview. The real power behind these wands and the deeper loyalties they held would come back with full force later, especially when a certain Elder Wand enters the picture. By the final battle, things had gotten tangled. We weren't just dealing with spells and wand flicks anymore. We were deep into magical calculus. Blood, soul, wand loyalty, each one a thread in a knot that Voldemort couldn't untie. And of course, he tried to cut through it with the Elder Wand, which he thought was rightfully his. Spoiler, it wasn't. Oops, the Elder Wand never truly served Voldemort because he never won it. He stole it from Dumbledore's tomb. Classic dark wizard move. But its loyalty didn't shift to him. Why? Because Draco Malfoy had disarmed Dumbledore first. Then Harry disarmed Draco. That's right, Voldemort lost the ultimate duel because he didn't read the fine print on wand ownership. Honestly, he needed a magical lawyer. Let's not forget, Voldemort also tied his life to Harry through blood. That old protection was still flowing through his veins. Add to that a soul fragment accidentally writing shotgun in Harry, and we've got a full circle moment. Voldemort couldn't kill Harry without also destroying himself. The boy must die, Dumbledore said, but only so the piece of Voldemort inside him could be erased. When Harry willingly walks into the forest and lets Voldemort strike him, something extraordinary happens. Harry dies, but not completely. The Horcrux inside him is destroyed, but he gets to come back. Do not pity the dead, says Dumbledore in that dreamlike King's Cross scene from Deathly Hallows. Pity the living, and above all, those who live without love. Yeah, that line hits different. So, when the final spell is cast, Voldemort shouting Avada Kedavra, Harry countering with Expelliarmus, the result isn't just about power, it's about ownership, loyalty, sacrifice. The Elder Wand refuses to kill its true master. The curse rebounds and Voldemort is defeated by his own hand. Not with brute force, but because he never understood the power of connection. So, was Harry ever truly safe? Or was he walking around as a ticking magical time bomb all along? What do you think was the most dangerous part of the connection between him and Voldemort? The blood, the soul, or the wand? Drop your theory in the comments, because I know you've got opinions. And hey, if this blew your mind even a little, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. This rabbit hole? We're just getting started. Ready to find out why the Elder Wand never really belonged to Dumbledore? Click the video on your screen now. Don't stow your wand yet. More magical mysteries are coming your way. Until next video.